Hey YouTube, it's Captain Horgan. This time I'm doing a tier list video on video game consoles, and I decided who else to join me on this video than another video game console nerd himself, Kel Greer, formerly known as Felix Gray. What's up, dude?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, no problem. So, obviously, I didn't want to put this tier list maker together because, dude, there are so many video game consoles. We would be here for hours doing this shit.
Oh, I know.
I mean, if you were to look at the history of video game consoles, like there were so many that came out in the 70s and the 80s that were always trying to compete, but they're like short-lived stuff and stuff like even I don't know about. I mean, plus you have like exclusive consoles to certain regions, and I'm just like, no, we're just gonna do more of like, I guess you could say the somewhat popular stuff that was in America at its time.
Yeah.
So I figured I saw this list was already pre-made up. Now I figured, shit, why not do this? Let's go ahead and start off with the first. So I went ahead and sorted these by like the decades or so and where they're at. So first off, we have the Magnavox Odyssey. I will tell you right now, I've never fucking played one. It is way before my time.
Yeah.
And I'm almost kind of looking at it like, where do I want to rank this at?
It's hard to say because the systems back then were limited by the technology of their time. So like looking back on it now with what we have, it would be considered trash, but it did pave the way.
Yeah, I get that.
Things in the future. So I would probably put it at like a high okay or a low good.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at that too because it did it did create the ping pong game, which was kind of like the inspiration for Pong for Atari. If so, like, here's my thing. Like, I was with you. I'm not gonna like. I would say in today's standards, it's bad. Nobody wants to play this shit. But for the time that it was, we can say it was okay.
Yeah.
So I'm all right with that. Now we're on to the Atari 2600.
Yeah, 2600, my jam.
So, I've played with one before, and in today's standards, it's not for me.
Yeah.
But it's one of those consoles that, even though it was before my time, I can still appreciate it. Now, where I'm at, I'm like, do I want to put it in the good console, or do I want to put it in okay?
Personally, I would put it in good. I had one whenever I was younger.
Okay.
I played the absolute hell out of that system.
I mean, there's still like people that still like it today for the nostalgia of it.
Yeah. And it was so popular at the time. I mean, the next console that sold more, not even more, but
it came out in the late 70s, didn't it?
Yeah, 30 million sold in the 70s.
Wow. Holy crap.
I'm trying to find the next console that came out that sold more than that was the original Nintendo Entertainment System at 62 million.
Wow.
So it held its place for a while.
Okay. I mean, that's where I was at. I'm like, I'm not going to say it was okay. It was definitely better than the Odyssey.
Oh yeah.
It was one of those things like you had the Odyssey come out and then the Atari comes out and like I'm like Atari was like, we see what you're doing, we're just going to make it better.
Yep. Yeah, definitely an improvement.
So now, right after the Atari, we actually have the Intellivision. I've seen them, never played them.
To me,
and that's where I have a hard time at ranking it.
Yeah. So like the Intellivision, I know a little bit about it because there was a push here recently to make like a new Intellivision. I don't think it's going to happen just due to some things, but it always felt more like an interactive video to me rather than a true like game that you could play. Because my grandparents had one whenever I lived in Nebraska, and like I didn't play it a whole lot. I played like one or two games on there. I can't even remember what they were, but it was you just kind of made a choice with the number pad, and
That's
that
where I
was
was
how
gonna
you
get. Yeah,
interacted.
that's where I was gonna get at with it. I was gonna say I do know at the time that the graphics were a little bit better than the 2600, but that paddle controller was so
Oh, so bad.
difficult to operate.
Yeah,
That's a few things about it I know. I feel like I would be cool with putting this in the okay
yeah.
part.
I would probably put it there too.
Like, yeah, good system, but would be better if the controllers were, a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then we have the ColecoVision,
Oh,
a- and that's another one of those. I know about it. I've never played it.
yeah.
Um, and I'm not sure where I would want to rank it. I know a lot of people like it. At the time,
Yeah, it came bundled with Donkey Kong, which is kind of a
oh
cool
yeah,
little fact, like the um, original Donkey Kong that came out, and it made it fairly popular. But I mean, it got overshadowed very quickly.
yeah, from the Nintendo.
Yeah,
um, I don't know if I want to put it in bad. I mean, it from what I know, it was a very short-lived console. But here's my thing. They did make that what the Coleco Mini or whatever it
yeah.
was. You know what? Just because of that, we'll give it the okay. I'm all right with that. Like, man, it's an okay system. There's like there's nothing great, but there's nothing bad about it.
Yeah, it wasn't really groundbreaking. Like they put Donkey Kong on it. It was popular at the time and didn't really break any barriers of video game technology.
Now we have the Magnavox Odyssey 2.
Oof.
See, that's another one of those things where I've never played it. I don't know much about it. I almost kind of don't want to rank it, but if if I was gonna throw it in anywhere, I might as well just throw it in bad. I don't know anything good about it.
Yeah, it I know shockingly little about the Odyssey.
You know what? Sorry, we'll just put it in the bad.
Yeah.
Speaking of bad, the Atari 5800. Um,
Uh
you know what though? I'm actually gonna throw this in trash.
yeah.
I don't know anybody who likes the Atari 5800.
Well, and wasn't this
It was
one of
such a
the
big console too, dude.
yeah, it was one of the consoles that contributed, I believe, to the big video game market crash in like the early mid 80s
Yeah, because
because they were oh go ahead.
people, if I remember, people were like, "There's no difference between this and the Atari 2600." They're like, "What
Yeah.
is this shit?"
Yeah.
Um, it's big, it's bulky. I do know in the back that's like actually the storage compartment for the paddles,
Mm,
but still, it's bad. It's
yeah.
trash. Um, now this is the Atari 70. This is what the 7800. No, yeah,
Believes I'm trying to
no,
see.
the 7200. Excuse me, the 7200, isn't it?
7800 and then the other one is the 5200.
That's right. I get the numbers mixed up. I will say this: the Atari 7800, whatever, I think that was released in what, like the late 80s or so,
Yeah, 80
mid late 80s.
86.
So I would say at that time, I don't think it could compete with the Nintendo at the time.
Oh,
I will say this: the only good thing about it was the backwards compatibility that you could play the old cartridges on it
mhm.
from the 2600 and the 5200. I think. Yeah. I No, hold on. not the no, I don't think it was the 5200. I think it was almost all the 2600s.
I
But
think
still,
so.
that's cool. I think that prevents it from being trash. But regardless, this was a bad console.
Yeah. The
Uh,
mighty fell.
yeah, it didn't stand a chance.
No.
So next up is the Vectrex. Now, another one of those consoles before my time. But dude, I know a lot of people that absolutely love the Vectrex. The fact that it's just like a tabletop arcade game kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's just black and white graphics too.
I'm trying to look and see. It looks like it might have minimal color, like very minimal, but I
Okay.
can't really tell. I know they had a few peripherals for it.
Mm.
Oh no, okay. They had screen overlays.
Okay. Oh, the stickers stuff.
Yeah.
I gotcha. I like the fact that it was a mini arcade, like a mini arcade game kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the thing I think is the Vectrex is probably one of those very misunderstood things because you were talking about the video game crash of '83, and it was discontinued super early. Um, but like I said, I like the fact that it has like this. It does have like this cult following now, and I know a lot of people like it. And like people go nuts when they see them like in public in game stores, like, oh my god, the Vectrex, oh my god. Um, you know what? Just because of how innovative it was, the fact that you didn't have to hook it up to a TV, you could literally just put it up there and play. I'll put this in the OK.
Yeah. I was
Oh,
thinking high okay.
yeah, it's an OK system. Now we're getting to the better stuff.
Oh man.
We have the original Nintendo Entertainment System. You know what? This, like you said, this saved the video game crash of '83.
Yeah.
Hands down, this was a great console.
Yeah. It really it had so many good games. It had
Mm-hmm.
did it have was it the start of the movie tie-ins for games?
I think so. Yeah. No, because there was ET for Atari.
Oh,
So
that's true. That's true. They
yeah,
were doing
the
that before.
the failed ET. So yeah, it's already been done. But I
But
guess you could say that it was better.
yeah, I mean, just the peripherals alone were cool. You had Rob, which has become an icon of Nintendo. I mean, Rob's even in Smash now.
Well, yeah, and
Like,
another thing I was going to mention too, because like the actually the Magnavox Odyssey, if you remember, that did come with a light gun.
oh yeah,
But I feel like the Nintendo Zapper like was way better.
yeah.
So Duck Hunt classic. So here's another thing. Since we're putting this in great, what would you say is your favorite Nintendo game ever?
For original Nintendo, hmm, I would probably say Super Mario 2,
That's a good one.
the American version.
You-
Um, I absolutely loved that game whenever I was younger. That was like the Mario game that I played the most next to World.
Yeah, I was to say the Mario game that I played the most was Super Mario Brothers 3, which is still a great
Mm.
game. But my favorite game, like if I'm like, what is the one game I want to play on this? Star Tropics. I love
Oh,
Star Tropics.
classic. I need to play
I
that
mean,
again.
like yeah, like I could give you your Mario and your Zeldas and your Mega Mans. But I'm telling you, dude, my favorite Star Tropics. I did like the Chip and Dale games. I did like the DuckTale games and all that. Those were all good. But
A hidden gem, however, is Little Samson.
oh, that game's so expensive.
I know. It's such a
Another
good game.
hidden gem for me for the Nintendo, Monster Party.
Yeah.
That's a hidden gem. Go check that out. So we'll move on. The Turbo Graphics. Um I've never played one, Um, I know a lot of people like it. I want to say it sold well.
Yeah, I know very, very little about this particular console.
Mm.
Because like the stuff early 80s and getting in to that era, like I mainly played my 2600 and then I graduated up to a Nintendo. So it's hard for me to like I know a little bit about them, but this is one that I'm just kind of don't know much.
Yeah, I I know a lot of people like it, so I'll just throw it in the okay if that works. I
Yeah, that
don't
worked for me.
I don't know a lot about the turbo graphics, but I know some people like absolutely love it, like because they grew up with that. And um, I know like a lot of people like the sound, the graphics, and I think it had like a lot of player capability on it. But I want to say there wasn't that many games on the library for it, and that's where a lot of people were like, that's a little bit disappointing."
A lot was unreleased in the US.
Was it?
Yeah, because I found the Wikipedia for it, and
Oh,
there's 678 games released commercially, but I think only a handful of those, how it looks, were released in the US.
oh.
But it was it took discs. It was a CD um,
I thought
console.
I thought it came on cartridges.
It looks like it had cartridges and
Hmm.
CDs. Something
Oh,
called a Who card.
a Hue card. I'm guessing that's like an add-on attachment or something.
Could be. I don't know. It's bizarre just looking at this.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know a whole lot about TurboGrafx. I know some people just love it to this day. Um, I never had one. I never played one. I don't
Yeah.
have much to say on it. But based off of how other people are, I'll just throw it in the okay. It's mid.
Yeah. Works for
Uh,
me.
yeah. Next is the Sega Master System. So I'll say this, and I'll jump ahead. I like the Genesis. I feel like the Master System was kind of like the prototype to the Genesis.
Yeah.
Um, and it's one of those consoles where I've never played it, don't know a whole lot about it. I do know I think it was released to compete with Nintendo. This was Sega's way of competing with Nintendo.
Yeah. They like I can name a couple games, but I mean the only few that I can really name for it is like Fantasy Star. Um
Wasn't there a Ninja Gaiden game for him too as well? But
maybe
that no, I'm thinking of something else. I know that was on Nintendo. But yeah, Fantasy Star was like a really big one. Um, there's some other stuff too.
yeah. It kind of got overshadowed in my mind by the Genesis.
Oh, like Streets of Rage and Sonic. I mean, yeah, because if you there, I think there was a Sonic game for the Master System.
Trying to see whenever we do these tier lists, I always have like the page pulled up for them so I can refer to it if I need to.
All right, but
Uh,
I feel like the Sega Master System. I feel like that can go in the okay.
yeah, no, I agree.
It's okay. All right. Okay. So next up, this is an expensive fucking console. But the SNK Neo Geo, dude, holy shit, that's like having an arcade at your freaking house.
Yeah, God,
Um, one of those. I know the system. Um, never owned one. I've actually seen one like on this. I've actually played one at like a GameCon convention before.
oh,
Um, it like I said, it's literally like having an arcade at your house. Um, the graphics on it. are pretty good. I think they're like more. I think they were like more sharper, and the colors like really pop. The sound is amazing.
I would love to be able to play one of these just once.
This one, here's where I'm at. It's a good system. It really is. Dude, the price is the price is rough. I will put this in the good tier.
Yeah, I am right there with you.
It's a good console, but holy shit, is it expensive. Now we got the Game Boy, original Game Boy.
Ooh, let's go.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is the best-selling handheld console like ever.
I think you're right.
I'm kind of curious if you were to pull up the best-selling handheld console, if it's not the original Game Boy, like I'm gonna be shocked. Um, but while you're looking that up, I will speak for the both of us. We can easily put this in great.
Oh yeah. So it looks like the Game Boy, their guesstimate is 64 million sold.
Holy.
The next one that outdid it barely was the Advance with
Okay.
81.
Okay.
And then, you get into like the DS and stuff, which different era. So I don't really count it as the same.
Yeah. Why I feel like when you're looking at the early 90s where these handheld consoles were really coming in, because I have them bunched up with the Sega what Jesus Game
The Game
Gear.
Gear.
Yeah, I almost said like the Master System. What the hell am I talking about? But yeah, the Game Gear and the Atari Lynx. If I was gonna compare all those, dude, like seriously, the Game Boy, original Game Boy, great.
Just
Um,
it blew it out of the water on the first
dude,
try.
dude, Tetris revolutionized everything.
Yeah.
And it's everything. If I had a favorite Game Boy or a Game Boy game, um, I mean, I like Tetris.
Tetris was good.
Um, what was it? The Super Mario Land or something like that?
Yeah. Super Mario Land was fantastic. That and Six Golden Coins.
Ah, yes. Yeah, like I said, I did like those games. Yeah, Super Mario Land, Tetris. I think those were bundled with the Game Boy too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's hard to pick a favorite on the console because it was just so good.
yeah, I'm actually looking up the launch titles: Alleyway, Baseball, Super Mario Land, Tennis, Tetris, and Yaku Man. That's a Japanese release. Okay.
And of course, it gave us Pokemon.
True. We'll talk about that one later. Okay, so Sega Game Gear. Um, I get. I have. All right, so here's my thing with the Game Gear, and this is another thing we could talk about with the Game Boy, dude. The Game Boy ran on what, 4 AA's,
I think so.
and it ran for quite a bit, dude. That Game Gear, I don't care if it had color. That thing ate batteries for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
It just it was so power hungry.
It really was. Like I remember, like being on field trips, there would always be that one lone kid. Everybody has Game Boy, and there's that one kid with the Game Gear, and the batteries were shot within a day.
Yep.
Meanwhile, everybody's still playing on their Game Boy.
It did have the TV tuner, so you could watch TV on it.
That was cool. I will give it. It was good. Plus, no, that was a different thing. I'm thinking the Nomad. That was the portable Genesis. Do you remember that?
Oh, the Nomad, that was the small one, right? Was that smaller?
Well, that it's basically a portable Genesis. Like you could put your Genesis cartridges in there.
That's right. Okay.
Not
Yeah.
Game Gear cartridges. That's something else. But for the time, Game Gear, it was good.
Yeah.
Not better than Game Boy, but it was
No.
good. Another thing I don't like about the Game Gear, I think it's the diodes in there for the speakers were shit.
Oh yeah, the sound was not good.
No, sound was not good on that. Moving on, the very kind of forgotten Atari Lynx. I know a lot of people like the Atari Lynx. It's kind of got that cult following to it when it comes to handhelds.
Yeah.
I've I've never played a Lynx. I've seen it. It looks hard. I mean, the screen looks pretty good from it. Um, I would still put this in the good section though, along with the Game Gear.
Yeah, the early handhelds, they were all very similar, but Nintendo just kind of got everything right.
The game library and all that.
Yeah.
That's another thing with the Lynx is it didn't have much of a game library for it.
Uh,
But I will say this might be me being a little more of the taking a little bit of a risk opinion here. I would say the Lynx is probably a little bit better than the Game Gear,
yeah,
but I
I can
like
see
the Game
that.
Boy more than the Lynx. Oh boy! So we got the Sega Genesis.
Oh,
I know
I
you like the Genesis.
I still have my Genesis from
Nice.
whenever I was a child. It is a very near and dear system to my heart.
You know what? Here's my thing. You have that whole Sega Nintendo competing against each other in the 90s. Um I will say this. Everyone says this was better. That was better. I'm like, you know what? In my opinion, they are both good in their own right because both had a really good game library. The graphics were fine. The play a bit like the controllers were fine. And like, all that. And with this Genesis, not only that, you had like the CD attachment later, and then you had the 32X, which it's one of those things where it's like, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just put a little add-on to it or whatever. We don't need to make another console. So a
Yeah.
very versatile console. Um, I will go ahead and say that the Sega Genesis was a great console.
Yep.
And then also, speaking of another great console, we're on to the Super Nintendo.
Ooh.
And I will put this as a great console as well.
I would say high, great, possibly best.
I will say I'm on agreement with you on that because the game library for the Super Nintendo is phenomenal.
Oh, it really
There's
is.
there's so many great games for it. And it's like I said, same thing with the Genesis. And that oh yeah, what is your favorite game for the Genesis?
Favorite game for the Genesis, probably. I really, really liked Earthworm Jim,
That's a good
but an honorable mention is Sonic Spinball.
one. Ooh.
I've got my copy of Sonic Spinball somewhere around here. But I played that game a lot whenever I was younger.
I would say one of my favorite games for the Genesis. Um, who? Okay, I liked playing Mortal Kombat on the Genesis because of the whole Super Nintendo is super family friendly, ooh, blood code, all that stuff. So like I have really good memories of playing Mortal Kombat on the Genesis where the blood was not censored.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you want to kind of go into exclusives, I liked Altered Beast.
Mm,
I did like Streets of Rage 2. And Castlevania Bloodlines is also really good as well.
yeah.
Toe Jam and Earl. Wasn't Toe Jam and Earl Super Nintendo as well?
I think so. I'm trying to remember. I didn't play that one as much whenever I was younger.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of like childhood memories on stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to Super Nintendo. This is a great console.
It is.
And this is a picture of a Super Famicom, but still same thing. But yeah, like I said, we kind of were all on the same thing. Genesis and the Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, I think they were kind of like on par with each other. Um, I guess you could say people that liked it were kind of like half and half at the time in the early 90s. Because it was almost like a ratio. If somebody had a Super Nintendo, somebody else had a Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
It was no like it wasn't like if two people had it, one person had it, or three people had it, one person had it. I feel like it was in my time growing up, it was half and half. Because I had like half my friends had Genesis and half my friends had Super Nintendo. I had a Super Nintendo growing up. My friend across the street had a Genesis. So that's how we would play games back and forth. Like I'd bring my Super Nintendo, he'd come over play Super Nintendo, I'd go over his house play Genesis.
Oh man, yeah. Whenever I was younger, I had the Genesis, and then I have an aunt um, that was big into gaming, and she had a Super Nintendo. So like whenever I go over to her house, I play Super Nintendo. Then I go home play Genesis. So I got to experience like you're saying both libraries at the same time, and it's funny how there was so many people that had one or the other, but you always knew somebody that had the
That's
other.
what I'm saying. It was like somebody if you knew somebody who had this, somebody else had that.
Yep,
If you
exactly.
if you had this, somebody else had like that's why I feel like in that early 90s, mid 90s period, I feel like the Genesis and the Super Nintendo were fairly competing against each other, and they were both equally liked by both parties. Like
Yep.
me, I like the Genesis, I like the Super Nintendo. It was hard for me to pick one, but I went with Super Nintendo. That's what I got. Favorite game for Super Nintendo?
Oh man, that is a hard one. I like the most logical choice would be Super Mario World, just because that is how I got started in streaming.
Yeah.
And but I honestly think my favorite game, it's a toss up between Super Mario World and Mother 3.
Okay. Mine is easy because I still love it to this day. Super Metroid Prime.
Yeah.
That is my favorite Super Nintendo game. A Link to the Past,
Oh, classic.
right behind it. Um, Loved Killer Instinct.
That's a good one.
Um, Loved all the Donkey Kong Country games on it, and Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful art style in that.
Oh yeah, 100%. Ooh, the Panasonic 3DO.
Oh boy.
I had one of these recently,
I
and
remember that.
I traded it in, box and all, games and all. I had fun with it for a while, but dude, some of the games I had for it, I'm like, holy shit, these are bad.
This was the
Um,
one where you had like the shooting gallery game, right?
Shooting gallery game.
Or am I thinking of a different one? I
You
might
might
be
be
thinking
thinking
of something
you
else.
might be thinking of something else.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. This is where they were taking that leap into like CD based games. I feel like this was the first CD-ROM system to like actually be something,
Yeah.
but it's one of those. It's okay. It's whatever. Dude, I know back in the 90s that asking price for it was atrocious.
Oh, it was
That
so
I
expensive.
that I remember about it. Oh my god, I just looked it up. In 1993, it was $700 for that system.
A PS5 doesn't even cost that right now.
Like, bro, you couldn't even no, I wouldn't even pay $700 for this system now.
No.
Um it's one it's one of those it's fun for a while, but you'll get tired of it real quick.
Yeah.
But I know there is like a massive fan base for the 3DO. People love it. Um, I would say it's super mid. It's a low okay.
Yeah.
Why did it hide? Where's the background for it? Oh
Yo, it's
well.
giving a 3D effect.
Yeah, no, true. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever played the 3DO or know anything about it.
The only thing I really know is just after you got one, I kind of looked into it a little bit. It's like
I
I'd
do
heard of
know.
it, but
I do know it had an insane amount in the game library of those interactive movies with
huh,
like really bad quality.
yeah, I like those when they're done well.
True. Like Night Trap.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. So the next one, Atari Jaguar. Here's my thing. I had a friend of mine growing up who had one, and he was like obsessed with it because I want to say this was like a 30. Was it? What was it? What? It was a 32. No, was it?
It was a
Was it?
64.
It was. That's right. It was a 64-bit game. Um. Yeah, I think that's what Atari's thing was like. It was like the first 64-bit and all that stuff. Um. Very short lived though.
It didn't have games and it didn't look great.
That's another thing. It's like, yo, why get this when the PS1 obviously looks better
Yeah.
and had more games?
Yeah.
Dude, straight up, this is bad.
Yeah,
This is
it's
this is the downfall of Atari.
yeah, that was the Atari killer right there.
That is the failed comeback. I know, dude. It's weird though. There are people out there to this day who have like this massive cult following for the Jaguar.
That
Yeah, like,
controller alone just makes me have anxiety.
dude, oh my god. But yeah, like the Jaguar was so bad, Atari was like, "We're out. Like, we got nothing." Okay, so this next one, this is the Odyssey Amiga CD, which honestly, dead ass, I didn't know this was a fucking thing.
I
And I'm gonna tell you right now, because I don't know a fucking thing about it from my take on it or what anybody said. It's one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, I forgot that existed. Trash.
Fun fact, it released in September of 1993 and it was discontinued in April of 1994.
Holy shit. Yeah, trash. My God. Oh, speaking of trash, we got the
Ugh,
we got the failed Philips CDI. Again, one of those consoles. I've never owned one. I've played one before at at a convention. And it's like dude, it's like the same thing with the 3DO, but I thought if I remember, this was more interactive movies. If I remember, it was more of those interactive movies than anything else. Like there was like really no playable games on it. And I feel like they were also trying to introduce that whole, because I know it was CD-ROM based, but like home entertainment without the video games, like, interactive encyclopedia, if I remember,
yeah.
which nobody fucking asked for.
So a little my take on this. I want one of these consoles so incredibly badly. This is one of my and you're gonna laugh. This is one of my few holy grail consoles
Oh yeah.
because I loved the Zelda and Mario games
Oh, like
for
the
this system. Wand
what
of
was it?
Gamelon,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Faces of Evil, which wasn't even a Zelda, it was a Link game. It didn't have the Zelda name.
Yeah, because Nintendo was like had the trademarks to it, and they found like some loophole to use that shit.
They were so bad, but like they're so bad that they're good to me. And
Mm.
I want one of these systems so badly. I agree it's a bad system, but I love this system.
It's so bad, it's good.
Yep.
Yeah, like I remember they were trying to do like, if I remember, they were like trying to compete with like, it's like we want to do like a computer and a home console all in one kind of thing.
Yeah,
I will
yeah,
say this: the 3DO is better than this.
yeah.
This wasn't trash; it was just bad.
Yep.
But speaking of trash, we're on the Virtual Boy,
Oh,
brother. I don't know what Nintendo was thinking. I remember playing with one at a. I was at the mall and they had like one on the kiosk kind of thing that you could play.
hmm.
Dude, it gave me a fucking headache. I was because I'm thinking, oh, Virtual Boy, like all these color graphics, everything's gonna look like virtual reality. I get in there, I'm like, this is all black and red monochrome shit. Dude, fuck this.
It was such a bad, like, it was a cool idea, but
Yeah.
the technology just wasn't there yet.
Nope. I feel like Nintendo got way ahead of themselves on this. And not only that, the game library is like what, 26 games?
Yeah, there's Mario. I know there's Mario Tennis, and
There's
there was a Rob the Robot game.
there's like a Wario game too.
Yeah, it was just it didn't have a whole lot of things, and it was just a failed experiment, I feel.
Dude, also another thing, I don't know if you know much about Virtual Boy now in collector's market. That AC adapter is so goddamn expensive on its own
Oh, I bet.
because it's universal to, well, it's not universal, but you can't. Okay, so like example, the what was it like the oh shit, um, kind of like the power cord for like your PS1. It's the same power cord for like the PS2.
Oh yeah.
The Virtual Boy adapter only works for Virtual Boy and nothing else.
Oh jeez.
Yeah. Um, I'm actually kind of curious. I actually want to look this up before we go next to the next one. Um, Virtual Boy AC adapter. Yeah, some are going for on eBay used $105, $150, 120. Yeah, it's an expensive adapter. So
Oh
like
geez.
if you lose it and need to get another one or a replacement, good luck.
Yeah, you're just screwed.
This is trash. This was a failure.
Yeah.
Oh god, it's in virtual reality. It's 3D again.
Oh my god.
Next up, we have the Game Boy Color. Dude, I'm gonna tell you, I loved Game Boy Color for
So
for
good.
for its time. I
Yeah.
just, dude, the games on it are so good. I mean,
Games,
Pokemon
color,
Blue and Red, dude, come on.
the Kirby games were on this, which I love Kirby.
Mhm.
It was so good. I remember having one whenever I was younger and having the like screen magnifier that also had a light built in.
Yeah,
Trying to
that
play
was
that
the
on car
no.
it's
Wait, well, hold on. Didn't the Game Boy Color have the light built in?
no, that did not happen until the advance.
That's right.
No, that wasn't even the advance didn't even have the backlight. It was the SP before the backlight.
You right. You right. I still love the Game Boy Color.
Oh yeah, it is a fantastic handheld.
My thing is, does it go in great or does it go in the best? That's tough.
Um, it's a toss up. I would say high, great, low,
Yeah.
best.
Dude, I love the Game Boy Color.
It's
The
so
game
good.
I love the game library and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cool with you on that. Putting it in a great handheld. It's better than the original Game Boy. They just took the original Game Boy. We're like, we're gonna make it smaller and we're gonna put color on the screen. And I know
Yeah.
what you're thinking, oh, Game Gear already did that. Yeah, but guess what? The Game Boy don't run off of fucking 4 AA batteries. Okay, that's what makes it better. And the
Yeah.
sound. The sound on the Game Boy was way better
Oh,
anyway.
the sound chip was incredible.
Crisp. Ooh, PS1.
Oh, now we're getting into some good territory.
Yes, yes. Um, so my first home, so I never mentioned this to you. Oh, also, favorite game on the Game Boy Color, Pokemon Red.
Yeah, I was a Pokemon Yellow player,
Fair.
uh, but that
I feel like blue, red, or yellow. It's not going to matter. It's just
yeah
Pokemon.
yeah
But yeah, PS1. Where I was going back to, first home console that I ever owned was a Nintendo. It was handed down to me from my dad because he quit playing video games. He got tired of them. Gave it to me, loved it. Then that got me into Super Nintendo, and then I had the Super Nintendo for a while. And then I got a PS1 for Christmas. Dude, I was fucking hooked. I loved my PS1. I played my PS1 more than I played my Nintendo 64. That's saying something.
yeah.
I love the game library for the PS1. There's so many good games on it. Um, and it's like I said, this was better with all these with all these home consoles that were doing CD-ROMs. This was better,
Yeah,
and it
they
was less expensive.
and it had a pretty long lifespan, I feel.
Dude, oh my god! I think the PS1 ran from like what 1994 almost to like 2005 or six or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds right. Which, you know, before that, there was new game consoles coming out rapidly because technology was improving so quickly, and then
Yes.
this comes along and it just stays. So I
So
think that speaks a lot for the PS1.
let me look it up. So PlayStation 1 was released in Japan in 1994, North America 1995. That's right because I got it the Christmas of 1995. Um and its lifespan was 1994 to 2006.
That's insane.
That's amazing. And it was so simple. And like I said, the introductory price with no CD-ROM games, I'll look it up right here. Introductory price $300.
Yeah, not bad at all.
And then you had these other CD home consoles that were going for $600, $700, $800. Dude, no way. PS1, you know what? Great console.
Just the game library alone, it gave us Spyro, Crash, it gave us Tony Hawk, the Oddworld series, Silent Hill,
Yes.
like
Metal Gear.
yeah, Metal Gear, Resident Evil.
I mean, Tomb Raider was on other consoles, but I feel like wasn't it on like PlayStation first and another consoles got
I
into
think
it?
so.
Yeah.
Twisted Metal, another good
Yeah,
series.
yeah, true. Shit, I could look at my PS1 games right now.
Right?
But yeah, I would say PS1 and like Konami games were game
Mm,
changer. Final Fantasy 2, 7. Come on, dude.
fantastic game that I still need to play.
Okay, so now another CD home console, Sega Saturn.
Yeah.
Um, I had a Sega Saturn for a while. Not growing up, just recently. Um, not I don't have anything bad to say about it. It was here's where I'm gonna put it at in ranks. It's not better, in my opinion, than the Genesis.
No.
And that's my other thing too, where I look back at it, I'm like, did they really need to make the Saturn? Because you had the CD attachment for the Genesis, and they're like, well, yeah, the Sega Saturn does, 64-bit, whereas the Genesis is 32-bit. I'm like, but guess what? The PlayStation's better than the Saturn. The Saturn, it could not compete with the PlayStation.
No.
But
No.
it did have its good library. I will give it that. And for that, I would say the Genesis or the Saturn was a good console.
I have one gripe with the Saturn. it was
Yeah.
kind of the start of the downfall of Sega making home consoles.
Yeah.
It could not compete with the PlayStation. It just could not.
No, and that's where I'm at looking at this, where I'm like, it was not better than the PlayStation, but I will tell you this, it was better than, the 3DO or at that time 3DO was out of the picture.
Yeah.
But when it comes to CD-based home consoles, uh, this is it doesn't compete with the PS1.
No.
But it had its good game library. I give it that. It had some good games on it. So for that, I give it good. Now we're on to the Nintendo 64, which I know a lot of people love.
Mm.
Dude, you might agree. Dude, this is definitely one of the best game
Yeah,
consoles ever made.
absolutely. It has a timeless library. I mean, games that were made for it still hold up and are playable today.
It definitely has one of the best game libraries, like you said. There's so many games for it that I love that I still want to play. Um, I will say this didn't have a long lifespan like PS1. I want to say the N64 because they moved very quickly when they went to GameCube, but
Yeah.
still doesn't matter. The fact they're like we can take a 64-bit and put it on a cartridge, suck it. We don't need
Uh,
no CD. They were still doing their whole what was the game pack or whatever it was. It's just
yeah.
their cartridge.
The fact that you
Um,
get the expansion pack to make the games look better too. It was so great.
Great games on it too. What's your favorite game for it?
Um Probably it's a toss up. Conker's Bad Fur Day
Oh yeah, you love Conkers.
is one of my favorite games of all time. So I would probably say that and maybe Banjo Kazooie. I like the collectathons.
Yeah. Um, I don't want to sound like a poster boy for like, oh, typical answer. Like, no shit. Ocarina of Time, my favorite game for the 64, probably the greatest video game ever made.
Yeah.
Um, obviously, I loved GoldenEye for it. Um, and WWF No Mercy.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Did like that. Oof. Now, Sega Dreamcast.
I wanted one of these so bad whenever I was a kid.
I still have mine, dude.
I I still look for them every now and then if I have extra money to see if I can find one with a couple games.
Yeah.
Like one day I will get one.
Dude,
I love this console.
like, okay, so I can tell you off right now in this video, I still have my Sega Genesis. I have the Sega Sports. It's the all black one. I don't want the white ones because over time the white gets yellowing and I don't like the yellowing on the plastic. Um, and I have a very nice game library for the Dreamcast. Let me pull up my game high. So a few things I have like Seaman, Daytona USA, Alone in the Dark, Rush 2049, Do Crazy Taxi was good. Soul Calibur. Here's the thing. There are so many good games on the Dream. The Dreamcast is one of those. It was like in the wrong place at the wrong time
Yep.
because um I remember it was released on 9/9/99, September 9th, 1999. And it was kind of like one of those you late to the party.
Yeah.
Because the thing I liked about it was the games were good, the graphics were good. Um, but dude, it no DVD player on it. Doesn't play DVDs.
Yep.
Um, the controller's a little wonky. It's a weird feel. I have I have this it's I don't want to say it's a third party controller, but it's made by like a different company, but it's shaped like an Xbox controller. I forget who makes it.
Nice.
It's so good. It's wireless. I love it. And you can put your VMU in there. Um where I would rank this at. This was a good console, but it was flawed.
Yeah, it was behind on the time and ahead of the time at the same time. Like
Right.
it had the online stuff, but they didn't do anything with the online network service.
Mhm.
Like it was there, but it didn't really work.
Like at the,
And
that's what I'm saying. The market that they got into, what Sega did, could not compete.
no, makes me sad. I wish there would be another Sega console, but sadly,
This
this
is the last Sega console, man.
yeah, this killed it.
No, I don't want to say it killed it. I just want to say they were like, man, we thought we had something and we didn't compete. We should have
Yeah,
waited.
that's fair. That's fair.
They jumped the gun. They should have waited, and I feel like the Dreamcast would have been a more superior console than it was already. But still, great game library, good graphics, very fun to play with. Game console, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Now we exit Sega. We enter Microsoft. We got the Microsoft Xbox.
Hell yes.
Hmm.
I
I'm.
my parents bought me one of these whenever it came out, and I was so excited to play this.
You know what? I'm looking at this and I see something that bothers me. I'm gonna move the Sega Saturn into OK.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because the Dreamcast was way better than the Sega Saturn.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put Dreamcast on the same level as Sega Saturn. Sorry for people that like Sega Saturn. I feel like the Dreamcast is better. But yeah, but the Xbox. Um, my friend had an Xbox, and he was obsessed with it. He had the online play. I was like, "Whoa, you can play online with this? What?"
Ugh.
Um, that was kind of like newish to me at the time.
So damn good.
Um, dude, I would this the Xbox is a good console. It's a good console. There's good exclusives on it. There's good games.
Halo.
Halo, Dead or Alive. What was it?
Yes.
What was it? Dead or was it? No, because all right, I remember Dead or Alive first came out on PlayStation, and then Dead or Alive 2 was, I think that was Xbox.
I think so.
I think so.
Also had Fable, which
Oh, dude, Fable's so good. Uh, dude, Steel Battalion. Yeah, that big ass tabletop controller. That shit is so weird, dude.
that was
All the
a bizarre peripheral.
that is yeah, that's bizarre. But dude, yeah, there was a. I mean, obviously, Halo's the greatest Xbox game ever made. I think
Yeah.
that's no competition. Hang on a sec. All right, all right. So real quick after this, so um, we got a handheld in here. We've got the Game Boy Advance. Um, I had one. I didn't have that many games for it though.
I didn't either.
Um, correct me if I'm wrong, but couldn't you play Game Boy Colors on the Advance or no?
You could, yes.
That's right. I knew you could.
They stopped backwards compatibility with the 3DS, I believe. Yeah, 3DS.
Okay.
Because you could play it on the DS and the DS Lite. Everything up to that point.
Yeah, I remember you are right. The Game Boy Advance, they had the ability to do the backlight.
Okay.
My thing is, where do we rank it though?
It's
Would you say it's better than the Game Boy Color, but it still
I
falls into great?
I think it falls into high grade. It it did a lot right. It wasn't the the greatest handheld in the world. I think one of the best handhelds of all time is the Advance SP, the clamshell.
Right. But here's my thing. Despite the design difference, would you still put the Advance as great or best?
I would probably put it as great.
Okay.
It had it had some amazing Pokemon games on it.
True.
Um, that's like one of my favorite eras, like the Fire Red, Leaf Green, Gen 3. So those are fantastic. I
So
just looking back, I'm having a hard time thinking of other games for the Game Boy Advance that weren't just either ports of the SNES games or Pokemon,
okay.
which is why
Like,
it kind of
here's my thing. So we have a little bit of an age difference gap. Um, I would say when the Game Boy Color was out, I was about 7, 8 or so. I think I was around 8 or so, 8 or 9, and I was like really big into Pokemon. So like the original like 151, like with with red, blue, yellow. I
Mhm.
love that on the Game Boy Color. And then on the Advance, that's when you start to get into like, Emerald and Ruby and Sapphire and all that other ones.
Yeah.
At the time, and don't shoot me, at the time, I was kind of grown out of the Pokemon phase.
Yeah, that's fair.
So Pokemon games on the Advance didn't really appeal much to me. But like I said, I had one. Um, I remember there was one game on it that I had that I really liked, and I want to feel, dude. Something makes me feel dumb if I were to say it. Oh, I remember. It was like some like SpongeBob SquarePants games and stuff on there that I had that I liked. Um, I remember having. Oh man, it's like you had. Oh, it was Super Mario Advance. That and then
Oh
you
yeah.
Yeah, and then you had like I had like Tony Hawk on it and all that stuff. Because I was really big into skateboarding at the time.
Like
when did the Advance come out?
let's see. 2001.
Okay, I was gonna say I know it came around the same time as the GameCube because then you had that we'll talk about it right here with the GameCube because the GameCube had that the Game Boy player
Yeah.
attachment on the bottom so you can play your Advance games on there through the TV. So I feel like Nintendo's like, let's release a console, handheld, and home console that are kind of compatible with each other in a weird sense of way.
Yeah.
And I'll go. I know you and I are gonna be on the same discussion. GameCube, great console.
Oh, fantastic.
Great console.
Absolutely fantastic.
Good games, good game library on there and all that good stuff.
So fun. I
What
love my GameCube.
what is your favorite GameCube game?
Ah, I really like Wind Waker.
No, the graphics are good on that too.
It is. The art style aged phenomenally. Um,
You know what I'm gonna say.
gosh.
You know exactly what I'm gonna say. Eternal Darkness, man.
Oh yeah. Oh
Well,
yeah.
and Resident Evil 4.
Oh man. See, I played Resident Evil 4 on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah,
So I
but
always forget it was on GameCube.
yeah, because the Capcom won the rights with Nintendo, and they got the launch, and then
That's
later Resident Evil 4 was released later on PS2.
that's right.
Um,
Yeah, I think Wind Waker is my solid favorite game for that console.
Hidden Gem for me. I'm a wrestling mark. I love the Day of Reckoning games that were on GameCube.
Oh nice. I never played those.
Those are so good, dude. Also, Mario Kart Double Dash and Mario Sunshine.
Oh yeah, Sunshine is fantastic. That was a good game. I still need to fully play through Sunshine.
Ooh, moving on. We
Mm,
got the PlayStation 2. Hands down, the greatest fucking home console ever fucking made. Easily the best.
yeah,
I'm putting this above the N64.
yeah. I mean, it it just
The game library, dude.
thir-
That's
it
what did it. It's the game library.
it did not. It was discontinued in 2013.
Oh my, and guess what? You could play DVDs on it.
Yep.
Can't do it on the GameCube.
No.
You could do it on the Xbox, but guess what? The Xbox, they were like, oh, you can't use your remote, you can't use your handheld, you can't use the console controller. You need to buy the DVD remote attachment with the sensor attachment. PS2 said, we got you. You can use the controller for
I
it.
I remember having one of those DVD remote attachments for my Xbox. It was so
Also,
annoying.
another thing, this is what I want to do. Um, we're gonna do this right here in the middle of the video. So as you can see, I've put the PS2 ahead of the N64. Now we're gonna sort the greats out of here. We'll do this at the end of the video. We'll do that.
Works.
Favorite PS2 game?
Oh man. I mean, Silent Hill 2,
You might read my mind.
it's really hard to beat Silent Hill 2.
Here's my thing. I could say Silent Hill 2, but technically it's not an exclusive because it was on Xbox. They just had
That's fair.
I think it was on like the Platinum series. No, it wasn't on the Platinum series. Or it was the oh dog, I feel so dumb. It was a certain edition. Uh
For Xbox?
yeah.
Oh, that was God damn it.
It was Restless Dreams. Because that yeah,
Yeah,
that's what it
yeah.
was. Because it had the extra ending. Um which I know a lot and no, they included that ending on the PS2 greatest hits version, I think, or something like that.
Maybe. That sounds right.
So, because there's some people I know that prefer the greatest hits version than the black label because it's like, oh, it's got another ending or whatever. I'm like, dude, I don't fucking care about. The game's great overall, regardless of whatever ending you get. It's still
Yeah.
great. It's still a masterpiece game. I love Silent Hill 2. Um, I will say I do have very fond memories of playing um Silent Hill 2 on the PS2, but because I'm a Silent Hill stan, guess what? Silent Hill 3, because that was a
Mhm.
PS2 exclusive, wasn't on anything else. I,
Fantastic game.
I will say Silent Hill 3 is my favorite PS2 game. Just the fact that it was on that console alone, nothing else.
Honorable mention: Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Ooh. That wasn't on Xbox as well?
It was, but I had it for the PS2, so like I fondly remember playing it on there.
Oh,
Fantastic.
another one, and I have to say it because Giovanna will shoot me if I don't mention it. Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh, beautiful game.
Yes. Plus, dude, you had the Jack and Daxter, the Ratchet and Clank, the Sly Cooper, Kingdom Hearts. Like, dude, come on, man.
So good. A lot of
And all
really
those
good exclusives.
and all those Metal Gear games as well. Ooh, next up, the Wii. Bringing motion sensor controls into the whole home entertainment stuff. Dude, you can argue with me on this or not. I might convince you. Dude, the Wii, this is one of the best consoles that Nintendo's ever done.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. The fact that you could play the GameCube games on there.
Yes. Oh, I think that was only on the launch Wii's.
Oh, that
Like,
yeah, because later on they took it away from us, like Nintendo likes to do.
Well, like I said, you still had that backwards compatibility, great game library. The motion control was fair. The fact that it was the controller, you didn't have to add like an attachment or anything like that for it,
Yeah.
was perfect. Because like what Xbox 360 was like, oh, we got the Connect. I'm like, well, you have to pay for that now.
Yep, and the PlayStation Eye toy.
That was on the that was on PS2.
PS2, yeah, that's what
I think the PS3 was the Move, and those
something
those
like
those
that.
those are the controllers that look like vibrators.
Oh yeah.
But regardless, fantastic game library that's super smooth motion controls.
Yeah.
Dude, people still play Wii today.
I know it's crazy to think that it's lasted
There are
this
people.
long.
There are people who are looking for Wii's today. Like, I need a Wii. I want to find a Wii or whatever. Like I've gone into games like retro game stores and stuff. I'll be in there shopped around, and I I remember one day two different people came in and asked like, "Do you have a Wii for sale?" People love
They
it.
it also like oddly enough had it's lived on to have longevity, but
Oh, you look
it
that up. I want to look up the lifespan of it.
yeah. So the original Wii launched in 2006, discontinued in 2013.
Oh my,
However, they
you
made the Wii Mini that was
right?
discontinued in 2017.
That's amazing. The fact that it was running around at 2017,
Yeah.
and you remember you could watch Netflix on the Wii.
Yep.
I think you had to have the disc for it.
Yeah, they Netflix sent you a disc and you put it in there and you
And you
could
browse
connect.
the library,
Yeah,
dude.
which was just wild.
That's amazing. Like one of the best consoles ever.
Yeah.
All right, a little bit of controversy here. We're gonna talk about the Xbox 360. Um, I will say Xbox 360 was a good console. Would have been great if it didn't have that Red Ring of Death issue.
Yeah. I and
There was great games on it.
yeah, I don't know. This is one of my spicy takes.
This is a high good.
I personally put this in mid to low good, possibly even high okay. I was not a huge 360 fan.
I was because the reason why is like I get the downfall of it was the Red Ring of Death.
Yeah.
Um, but dude, I like there were so many great games on it, like the exclusives. Halo 3 was so great. Um, Gears of War,
Gears of War was really good. I did enjoy that series.
Fable 3. Oh my god, dude. Um, those were like some of my favorite 360 games. Um, I want to say trying to think of some other like the some of their other like exclusives and all. Yeah. Oh yeah, Crackdown was a good one.
Oh yeah, it was pretty.
Um, and I want to say like all right, it's like the Kinect. I feel like was better than the PlayStation Move.
Yeah.
Was it better than the Wii? I give I think the Kinect sensor at the time ran for like what $100, 150 separate or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I remember I had a Kinect and I would just I remember doing like playing with the Kinect though. Um, but like I said, I don't want to put it in great. I will say it's a good console. It just had its flaws like the Red Ring of Death.
Yeah.
But I feel like the game library knocks it out from being just okay.
Yeah, it had some good games.
I'm gonna put it in good. It wasn't great. It was a good console. definitely better than the original Xbox with the
Yeah.
game library. But man, that goddamn Red Ring of Death. Next on, we got the PS3. Um, I know a lot of people like the PS3. I still have mine. I actually have the launch edition.
Nice.
So that one's backwards compatible, plays the PS2 games. But dude, it is a fucking brick. It weighs like 20 pounds. It's
Yeah,
insane.
very big console.
Yeah. The piano. Um I do know. Okay, so I'll say this. I do know like the launch exclude like the launch PS3s, like the one that I have,
Mhm.
were prone to overheating because there were so many components inside to run all that hardware with the PS2 games. Because you basically had a PS2 hardware built into a PS3.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of components. I know those were prone to overheating and having their issues, but later, kind of like the Xbox 360, they fixed it. And that's another thing. That's what I'm saying. That's what Xbox did. They fixed that. You had like the Elite, and then you had this like that Slim 360 and all that.
Yeah.
PlayStation 3 did the same thing. You know, they did that those Slim and then those like top loaders and all that stuff. So just for that, PS3, I'd say this is still a good console.
I agree.
Had a good library. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, it's just one of those. It's good. It has its flaws, which keeps it from being out of great, but staying out of okay. It's better than okay. It's good. It's a good console. Ooh, PSP.
Mm.
I have mixed things about the PSP. At the time, I thought it was cool that you could watch movies on it
Yeah.
and still play your games. But dude, like I know that those internal components wear out so quick
Oh, they really do.
because it's like that like where you load the disc at, like it's that very thin metal.
Hmm.
um I will say they are cool for running emulators on now, people that jailbreak them.
Yeah.
That's cool too. I give them that. At the time I had a PSP, and I had a few games for it. I had the movies and stuff for it, and dude, I sold it real quick. I kind of
Yeah.
got tired with it. Um, I'll say it was a I'll say it was a good handheld, like for PlayStation's first handheld. It was good. I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah, it's just it got overshadowed by the Vita later on
Mm,
because the Vita just did it so much better.
yeah,
But
well,
I like the PSP.
I do too. It's good. You can watch the movies on it. It's cool, and then the fact that you can jailbreak them easily now, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the Nintendo DS. I will tell you, I've never owned one, never played on one. I don't have much to say on it. I know it's not bad.
Yeah, it was so like
I'll say this. I'll let you rank this one.
so the thing with because I've got a couple DSs. I've got the original DS, like the launch one. I've got the DS XL or the DSi, and then I've got various 3DSs. But the thing with the DS is the original launch DS. The touchscreen was not great, and it
Okay.
scratched really bad.
Oh no.
The the DSi, the big one, fixed a lot of those issues. However, it took away the GBA game slot,
Hmm. I know some people
which
probably didn't like that.
yeah, it wait, no. Does it have the GBA game slot? Or am I thinking of something else? I'd have to look now because now I'm second guessing myself.
Okay, that's fine.
They did improve on the touchscreen, which I really enjoyed. Um I don't know. I would say I'm torn because as a retro gamer, I really like having backwards compatibility.
I'm the same way.
Um, but it wasn't incredible. It had a lot of things going for it, though. Man, maybe high good. I do think it was, for me personally, it was more enjoyable than the PSP, but I also didn't have a PSP for very long whenever I was younger, or like whenever they came out. So I would say good,
Okay.
high good.
And if you're going to put this in good, I'm guessing you'll put the 3DS as great. It was a bigger improvement over the DS.
Yeah, the thing that really set it apart for me was the
Mm.
fact that they added the control stick, which the
Oh
original
yeah,
DS
yeah. I'm looking at them now and I see
just had the
the
D-pad,
analog. Yeah, I see.
which like is fine for platformers and stuff, but playing on the 3DS with that control stick, it just felt so much smoother. And that control stick is really nice. It's very fluid. They don't wear out. Um, I'm a big 3DS fan. I just wish it had the backwards compatibility. I think if it had the backwards compatibility, it had a GBA slot, it would be one of the best handhelds of all time. But not having that puts it in great for me.
Okay. And then so you'll put the 3DS in rate.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this one, the Wii U. I know a lot of people can say this, and you will agree. I actually had a Wii U for a while.
Yeah.
But then
I,
when so they did the Wii U, and when I saw the Switch, I was like, the Wii U kind of feels like what they wanted the Switch to be. I feel like it's like the Wii U was like a Switch prototype.
yeah.
So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm actually gonna. All right, so the Vita, we'll move this out of the way for right now. I will say this: the Wii U was good for its time, but when we get to the Switch, we'll discuss about the Wii U later.
Yeah.
Now, the Vita, I feel like we can already say that the Vita was better than the PSP, and this was an improvement over the PSP. Plus, you had those like the little SIM card cartridges,
Mm-hmm.
so you ain't got to worry about disc scratching or whatever like the PSP. And I feel like the internal components are a lot better. I know there's a lot of people who love the PSP Vita. Um, Great graphics for a handheld as well.
And you could play your PS4 via remote play,
Correct.
which was really, really cool at the time.
I feel like we could put the PSP Vita or the PS Vita. Why did I say PSP Vita? The PS Vita in the great handheld.
Yeah. And fun fact,
Now,
it was only discontinued 4 years ago.
really, dang,
Yeah. 2012 to 2019.
I forgot it came out in 2012.
I know. That's wild.
I thought it came out like 2014, 2015.
No, it's 11 years old now, which is not fun to think about.
So now we're on to the last gen. And well, I guess you could switch is kind of current gen because it's still going on.
Yeah.
It's weird. This is Nintendo hasn't made a new console yet. I mean, we have the Xbox Series X, we got the PS5, but we're still kind of currently in the Switch generation still anyway.
Yeah.
But easily, arguably better than the Wii U. It's what the Wii U wanted to be. It's way better. You have the motion controllers on the handheld analogs that detach. I remember seeing the trailer for it. I was like, holy shit, that is amazing. You can,
Yeah.
it's a handheld and a home console. What? And you can hand the controller to your friend and play. I'm like, that is amazing. I have mine. I still love mine. Switch, great
Yeah. I
console.
I love the Switch. I Besides my computer, it is the game system I play the most.
Mm-hmm. And I'm actually gonna kind of like we are running like a lot on this. Surprisingly, I thought we were actually gonna be a short video. I feel like we can go ahead and put the Xbox One and the PS4 both in great. They're great consoles
Yeah,
equally. It's kind of like where we went back to with, we were talking about Genesis and Super Nintendo. For every one person has an Xbox One, someone's got a PS4. It's half and half.
yeah.
Plus, with the whole online stuff, Xbox has the Game Pass for it, which is very nice.
Hmm.
Um, I had a PS4 for a little while. Great exclusives on there. Um, I actually remember the first. It was funny because it actually originally came out on PS3 first. But the first game that I bought for the PS4, I got 2 games for it when I first got it because I got a PS4 Pro. I got Until Dawn and The Last of Us Remastered
Nice.
because I really wanted to play Until Dawn and I couldn't because I had an Xbox. I had an Xbox One, but I still have my Xbox One. Dude, I have the Halo, the Master Chief Collection, which has all the Halo games on it.
Oh, that's such a good
That was
collection.
yeah, and it was a launch, and I bought that. I still have it. I still run it today.
Nice.
And my PS4 Pro, I sold that a while back. I still like the PS4. It's a great console. Definitely, like I said, it's an improvement from the 360 and the PS3 and the PS3.
Yeah.
Now, if we were to rank everything that we have in here, let's do this. So when it comes to trash, what is the absolute trash of trash?
Mm,
That's tough, right?
the Virtual Boy, just because it gives you a headache if you try and play it, and I
True.
already get headaches and hate them, so that is like the bane of my existence right there.
Now, all right, so we could put that dead last. So we have oh my God, what is this? The 5200
Yeah, I think so.
and the Amiga CD.
I think it's good where it's at.
Yeah, because the Amiga was so short lived.
Oh, such a trash system.
All right, so now with bad, I think, dude, seriously, when it comes to bad,
The
look,
Jaguar.
Jaguar. Actually, let's do this because I don't know shit about the Odyssey 2. I'm gonna put this dead right here.
Yeah.
This killed Atari. This helped kill Atari. This is at least had some the CGI.
Ugh,
Now
my
when this comes to okay, I feel like this is gonna be easy. Let's put the Sega Saturn in top tier okay.
yeah.
Get up there, you. All right, fine. We'll just move the Magnavox Odyssey down here. Um, dude, the Vectrex, I'll bump that up a little bit.
Yeah, that it's a cool concept, it's a cool
It,
system.
and people still love it today.
Yeah.
Panasonic 3DO, really expensive, dude.
The price hurts it. The
I know. I'm gonna put the Sega Master System up here
yeah.
along with the Turbo-Grafx. I'll put see with Intellivision and ColecoVision, I'll just leave them where they're at.
Yeah, they're cool. They're novel, but they're not great.
People are gonna butcher me for putting the 3DO down here. I know some people love it. All right, so with good, whew, this is a little bit of a whew. The best good console.
Man, for me it's a toss up between Xbox and Dreamcast.
Dude, here's where I was kind of a little bit on agreement with you, but hear me out. Xbox, the fact that you can play DVDs on it is a plus.
Yeah.
The fact that you can still play DVDs on these is a plus. I'm gonna put the PS3. I'm actually gonna put the PS3 above the Xbox, and I'm actually gonna put the 360 above that because you got a better interface for online play. I will put the Genesis, or not Genesis, the Dreamcast up there. Um, I'll actually bump up the Neo Geo up here as well. Hmm. Wii U.
Man, I like the Wii U a lot, but I don't think.
The thing is, too, they ported a lot of the Wii U games over to Switch anyway.
Yeah,
There are some games on Wii U that are not ported over.
it's not very many though.
I know.
I don't know. I maybe under Dreamcast between Dreamcast and Xbox.
Like
I
right
have such a
here.
soft spot for the
About right here,
yeah,
you think? Okay, okay.
yeah. I got a soft spot for the Dreamcast.
Yeah, the thing is that Dreamcast, like it's got good games on it, but man, you can't even play DVDs on
Yeah,
it. Handhelds. Actually, well, I'm gonna leave the Atari right here.
yeah,
Obviously, Neo Geo is better than Atari, but the Atari is pretty revolutionary for its time. But when it comes to the handhelds, I kind of want to put the PSP. Stop. I want to put the PSP right above here, along with the 3DS. Dude, I will put the Lynx above the Game Gear. I know some people are gonna hate me for that. Dude, fuck the Game Gear, shitty speakers, battery killer. Get out of here. The
yeah.
Lynx, I think the Lynx had way better colors on it, their screen than the Game Gear.
No, I agree.
So great. Mm.
This is where it's going to get difficult.
Yeah, 100%. I know you love Nintendo stuff.
Yeah,
You know I like PlayStation stuff. Because a little bit of me wants to put the PS1 up at great. Top tier great. A little bit.
I I would probably agree with you just based on a few games
Mm.
and it being so revolutionary.
What I will say is, when it comes to revolutionary, I like PS1. I like Nintendo up there. I do like. Let me move around the consoles a little bit. Um, I will say this: I like the Super Nintendo more than I like the Genesis. I'll actually bump the Super Nintendo a little bit higher than the Genesis, if you would agree with that.
Yeah, I definitely do. I love Genesis, but the Super Nintendo
Game
has
library
the
can't
edge.
compete. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Um, and now I kind of want to put. I want to see. Here's my thing. We're kind of like I said, we're kind of into this little thing. Here's where I would say I will put these in the low grade right now because, like I said, they're still a little bit in their infancy. I knew, like, we already know that these are better than these consoles down here. But when it comes to ranking, um, I will say this: I know you love the Switch, but I'm gonna bump it down because online play. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
I'm I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm not putting Xbox above PS4. I'm just leaving it down here. I'm kind of like grouping these two together as their own. So when we're at this point right here, um, you want to put the GameCube like above Genesis? I'm
Yeah. Just
yeah.
like it's hard for me to compare them because they're two different animals, but like just looking at them and their game libraries and what they are capable of, the GameCube versus Genesis, I'm going GameCube.
We're little Nintendo fanboys over here, just a little
Yeah.
bit. We're not being biased though. We're just being, we're just telling how it is. With handhelds, I will say this: the Vita, it's good. I don't, I don't want to say it's better than the 3DS. I feel like the 3DS has a way more vast game library.
Yeah.
When it comes to these, here's where I'm going to be at. Original Game Boy, because it's revolutionary, introduced that whole handheld console thing to everybody. But Game Boy Advance is better than the Game Boy Color. Game Boy Color was a nice introductory to colored screen. Also, with sound quality, Advance, like, well, we're going to make the Game Boy Color and just basically make it better. Obviously, like, yeah, it was shaped different, but then where you get into the SP with the clamshell, then you know, smaller. I mean, you had the Game Boy Pocket as well, but that was just the Game Boy Pocket. It wasn't even color. They did, and I remember they did a Game Boy Pocket Color. You remember that there was original Game Boy, like this massive brick, and then they did Game Boy Pocket.
Yeah.
Which was smaller, and then they made the Game Boy Color, and then they made the Game Boy Color Pocket. So that was a little bit more smaller.
So many Game Boy consoles.
I know. I'm actually cool with this. And then for the best, I like it where it's at. PS2 is my favorite home console ever. N64 right behind it, then the Wii.
Yeah. I'm cool with that.
Holy shit. Hour and a half into this, dude. It's longer than I expected, but guess what? This, for what we have with from this tier list maker, this is where Helgrier and I are ranking our home consoles. The best of the best, PS2. The worst of the worst, Virtual Boy.
Such a stark contrast.
I know. So I'll tell you this. You let me know in the comments what your favorite home console is and what your least favorite is. Tell me some things that you agree with. Tell us things that you disagree with. Other than that, dude, I appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, always enjoy doing the videos with you.
I appreciate you, man. And if you like the video, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're not, and don't forget to share with your friends. Other than that, I appreciate y'all watching. Y'all have a good day.